Welcome! We got something special for you today, a little bit of an older product. We have this lovely 2004 Chrysler Sebring limited convertible that we recently took in on trade. A 20-year-old vehicle. It's February of 2004, so this is pretty much 20 years old. And back in 2004, this is actually kind of getting a little bit long in the tooth. The Sebring was first introduced in '96. Replacing the Chrysler Sebring. I don't know if you're Seinfeld fans. I don't know if you remember George Costanza driving in John Voight's car, the hideous wood-paneled old school Sebring. This is a lot better car than that. If you're looking for an affordable convertible, the Sebring was actually one of the best-selling convertibles for quite a while in the United States, partly because it was very popular in the rental fleets. If you ever went to Florida or Hawaii, these were very common vehicles in rental fleets, you know, for people wanting to rent a convertible in a beautiful climate. But those were kind of more basic versions. This one's a limited, guys, so this one has a little bit more, you know, a little bit more niceties than most of the rental grade ones that had the cloth interiors, which were pretty basic. This one only has 80,000 miles on it, so pretty low mileage for a 2004. A lot of these things are well over 100,000 miles, and probably a lot of them are at the junkyards and the scrap heap, but this particular example is in really nice condition, so we'll do a little walk around and we'll take it out for a spin. And this vehicle is not going to be perfect. You know, with these older vehicles, a lot of times when we take older cars like this, we're going to send them to the auction. We're a Highline luxury store. But when we do have nicer pre-owned vehicles, well, we have what we call value cars, so we're not going to fix every little thing on it. It'd just be too cost prohibitive. We're going to make sure it's safe. I think this thing has some oil leaks, things like that. So it's kind of more like a project car. We're gonna, you know, rest assured it's safe. The brakes are good, the tires are good, but there are things that you're probably gonna have to address as you own the vehicle. But for a lot of people, this is an affordable convertible, and it might be a classic car in the future. I mean, this is a really cool vehicle, kind of part of you know, Chrysler's history. One of the best-selling cars, convertibles in the United States, and they don't make these things anymore. Convertibles are kind of falling by the wayside. Not too many people buy convertibles these days, so a lot of manufacturers, they don't bother producing them because they're not they don't pay the bills unfortunately anymore. So it's more of a niche thing these days, where, you know, 20, 30, 40 years ago, a lot more people were buying convertibles. But if you're looking for a nice summer car, something affordable, nice shape that looks pretty, this thing is definitely the case. I mean, for a 20-year-old car, look at the condition of the leather. The inside and the outside's in really nice shape. Part of it is because it, you know, spent most of its life in our mild climate here in the Pacific Northwest. I'm originally from Boston, so usually cars in Boston are usually all rusted out unless they were taken care of and garaged and washed. But a lot of cars have a tendency in a little bit more of the snow belt, rust belt areas tend to disintegrate and rot out. But this one, being from this mild Pacific Northwest climate, and probably was pretty well taken care of. Obviously, with the low miles, people didn't drive this that much. So we have this nice leather interior with this kind of suede cloth inserts. We have wood trim on the dashboard, heated seats. Look at this auto stick. Chrysler is actually one of the first companies to offer an auto stick, a shiftable automatic transmission. Almost everything has it these days, but back in the day, auto sticks were revolutionary. I think Porsche with their Tiptronic, and Eagle, I think, was one of the first second cars to offer, you know, kind of more consumer level auto stick transmission, because most people couldn't afford Porsche 911s back then. So Eagle was one of the first cars. Now Eagle's kind of went away, unfortunately. It was a division of Chrysler. Then they started putting these in, like, you know, the Dodges, and now, you know, everyone kind of has these auto sticks now. But back then, it was kind of a little bit more revolutionary. CD player with CD changer. I don't know if that still works, but most people don't have CDs these days. We have a little trip computer, outside temperature compass, nice leather wrap steering wheel. The steering wheel is in great shape. Sometimes these leather wrap wheels can the leather can start deteriorating, but yeah, man, this thing is in really nice shape. We have the nice convertible top. So we'll do a little walk around. I'll put the top down, show you how that looks with the top down, and then we'll take it for a little spin around the block. Has the nice chrome wheels. Exterior is in really nice shape for a 20-year-old car. The headlights are fairly clear. Sometimes these older headlights, they can get foggy and discolored. Not the case with this one. For an engine, we have a 2.7 liter V6. It makes about 200 horsepower. They use that engine in a lot of our Chrysler products. Some of the more basic Sebrings, there was a 4-cylinder, so the 2.7 liter V6 is the largest engine you could get in the Sebring convertible. They did have a little bit of a larger 3 liter V6 available in the hardtop version, but the convertible, the largest engine was a 2.7. And for 2004, the Sebring actually got restyled, the interior and exterior. Most notably, the front end styling had changed a little bit more modernized. You know, like I said, this car was first introduced in '96, so by 2004 it was definitely ready for a facelift, getting a little bit older. That's a rather large car, very spacious. And for a convertible, you actually have a lot of trunk space. A lot of convertibles, you have to, you know, kind of give up trunk space to make room for that top in the down position. But this one is very generous as far as trunk space goes. And the rear seats are very spacious as well for a car this size. Yeah, not too bad. All right, we'll put down the top. All right, we have power seats. The power seats work great. The heated seats work really good too. I just had those on. To shut them off, I was actually getting too hot. So you unlatch these right here. Then you have this button, and I don't know, it takes like 10 seconds, 5 seconds. It doesn't take too long at all to get the top down. Boom. It's actually kind of a nice day. It's in the mid-50s. I could, you know, with a coat on and maybe a little hat, I would definitely do some topless driving today. But in the summertime, this thing will be wonderful. Nothing like driving on a beautiful Pacific Northwest summer day in a convertible. I had a Miata for a little while, and I absolutely love driving on beautiful summer days. I even drove it on 50-degree days. I had so much fun. Convertibles are a lot of fun, and this is a great, affordable convertible that's stylish and looks really nice. I mean, look at the condition of the leather and the inside. This is definitely really good for a 20-year-old car. All right, let's get behind the wheel and take it for a spin. All right, we're taking this 2004 Chrysler Sebring limited convertible out for a spin. Very nice driving car. Obviously, you know, with a cloth top, there's going to be not as good noise insulation as a hard top. There's a lot of retractable hardtop convertibles these days, so you're going to have a little bit more noise bleed through. You're just going to have to get used to it. One of the sacrifices, I guess, of having a cloth convertible top vehicle. Nice, spacious inside. I'm 6'2", a little under 6'2", and I'm very comfortable in this car. Very nice and spacious place to drive. Good power from the 2.7 liter V6, 200 horsepower. Pretty responsive too, considering it has a 4-speed automatic transmission. In days now where we have, you know, 8 and 10-speed automatic transmissions. Definitely has plenty of get up and go for merging in the highway, passing power. It's not going to win any races, but this is not a performance vehicle. It's more of a cruiser. It's not really designed to go fast. And the other thing you'll notice too of a convertible like this, when you lop off the roof, you know, you're taking away, you know, strength from the structure. So you'll notice a little bit more cowl shake, a little bit more shaking when you go over bumps, because you know, they try to compensate by adding bracing underneath the vehicle. Well, where are you going, man? You must be going like 80 miles an hour. But anyways, I digress. So they add, you know, they add additional bracing and stuff underneath the vehicle to make it stronger. But you know, we have to understand that all the strength from the roof is gone. The doors don't add any strength, so all the strength preventing the vehicle from flexing is, you know, on the floor. So, you know, they've gotten, you know, better in the last 20 years of, you know, vehicles making them stronger, but you know, you can definitely feel a little bit of shaking and stuff when going over bumps and uneven pavement. That's perfectly normal. In fact, if you read reviews, when I was brushing up on my product knowledge, they mentioned that in a review driving a brand new one when they were reviewing one back in 2004. So it's kind of a normal thing for this. Obviously, you know, you want to make sure it's not compromised, especially maybe if you were looking at one from a Rust Belt state where there's a lot of corrosion underneath, or damaged, subframe or unibody. That could be a dangerous structural issue. But this one coming from around here, I think this one's perfectly fine. I like the white face gauges. That's a nice little touch. So yeah, it's a nice little responsive convertible. So if you want affordable convertible, something to go out with your significant other for a nice Sunday drive, get a little vitamin D, and you don't want to break the bank, one of these older Sebrings, if not this one, would be a great one to consider. Obviously, low mileage ones like this are a little bit further and far between. But you know, there are probably some ones with even 150, 160,000 miles that were well cared for. They stayed up on the maintenance that you could probably find out there on the used market. And this being one of the most popular selling convertibles in America, there should still be a decent supply of the older ones in the used market. You know, I'm sure a lot of them ended up in the scrap heap, but since they sold so many, I'm sure there's outliers like this one that are still in nice shape. And the good news is, since they made so many of them, and since there might be a lot at the scrap heap, if you need to get parts or repairs on it, there's a whole, you know, there's probably salvage yards full of, you know, used parts for these things. So you might not, you know, so if you do have to do repairs to them, you're not going to have to be at the mercy of buying new parts, or not going to have a tough of time maybe finding parts for this one as other vehicles like the Chrysler TC convertible, which is a whole different thing. It was the Chrysler TC convertible, I guess, since we're going down this little segue, I guess those of you who are can tune out, but I guess getting down into the automotive minutia, a little sidetrack is Chrysler and Maserati teamed up together, and they built a Chrysler TC. It had Maserati badges on it, but it looked a lot like a LeBaron. So they say it was actually, the body I think was made in Italy, and they flew it to a Chrysler plant to get finished, somewhere along those lines. I'll have to find exact details about it. You can still see some of those floating around in the pre-owned market, but man, if you want to find parts for those things, good luck. We actually had a finance manager years ago who had one. We kind of made fun of him because he bought his Chrysler Maserati, then he went to the Maserati dealership and he had like a $300 Maserati leather jacket. Like, bro, you know, it's not a full-on Maserati. I think he was so into Maseratis, he actually was talking about, even he was actually interviewing at that Maserati dealership to work there, which never happened. But he was talking about, like, he had to get a windshield for it, and he happened to find like someone with a glass company who happened to have an original windshield by, you know, magic. Because he says, you know, no one makes windshields for those things. They're a little bit different than the LeBaron. But yeah, that's an example of a convertible that if you buy, maybe you want to have like 1 or 2 parts cars as well to be able to repair it when things go wrong. This one, not so much. Well, thank you so much for tuning into this video. A little bit silly, maybe a little bit long-winded, but appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon, and have a wonderful day.